Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Hustle and Hoops team breakdown. Today, we're going to be talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, jump right into it. Core 4, you got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. How the fuck do you say it? I don't know. Thanks, Shai. The undisputed vet for the OKC Thunder at this point. It is what it is. You got Chet Holmgren, guy who hasn't even touched an NBA floor yet, but 2023, we shall see. Josh Giddey, a gifted playmaker who is showing his willingness to attack and get to the rim. Good flow game. And then you got Lou Dort, clamp god. We all remember the series against the Rockets where he clamped up James Harden. We also, I don't remember what series it was, but he hit like 7 threes or whatever. Excuse my voice. I have a little bit of a cold, by the way. But you got those 4 guys, and then you got literally one of the largest pools of young talent in the NBA. You look at this team, and they're 28 and 29 on the season, 13th in offensive rating, tied 10th in defensive rating, and 13th in rebounding. And they were 18th in field goal percentage and tied 10th in three-point percentage. This team has added so many ball handlers and playmakers and creators that the hierarchy continues to constantly switch. So, now this year, rather than it being Trey Mann and Josh Giddey, it's J-Dub. It's J-Dub. It's all about J-Dub. Just gonna be honest. Just gonna be flat out. It's all about J-Dub this year. And Jay Williams is decent. He's gonna be a solid center, solid forward in the league, for years to come. JRE is obviously continuing his successes from previous seasons, averaging about 8 points and 5 rebounds, but only having played 30 games. So, there are definitely some guys on here that have missed some time. First of all, let's start with the fact that Aaron Wiggins has been extremely consistent this season, shooting 50% from the field, 40% from 3. He also gives a lot on the defensive end, being an extremely athletic, forward, guard, whatever you want to say. He does all the small things, which is nice. You got Trey Mann, who has been primarily off the bench and in a limited role, but shooting 39% from the field, which isn't great, but being kind of a inconsistent scorer, high volume scorer already, it's not too surprising to see, him have a down season. It happens, and he's young, so it is what it is. And we already talked about Jalen Williams a little bit. Jay Will, he brings a lot on the defensive end, very switchable, decent rim protector, pretty quick feet, relatively quick feet. He's not going to switch onto a guard or anything and be super successful, but for most forwards and most centers, he's able to, keep up with, and physically, he is typically able to fight down low with other centers, with other bigs, and not get overpowered down there. On top of that, he's shooting 49% from 3. Yeah, he's shooting 49% from 3 on 1.7 attempts, but decent. Now, I've kind of been avoiding the one guy that everyone wants to talk about, that, it's Isaiah Joe. It's fucking Isaiah Joe. I mean, this guy has come in and not only become one of the most premier shooters in this league, but also has a pretty decent interior finishing and capability to, get his shot, find his shot. It's not necessarily like he's just a 3-point shooter. And, he's not a clamper. He's not going to lock you up on the defensive end, but he's also not a complete negative on that end either. And I mean, he's shooting fucking 45% from 3 on 5 attempts. That's wild. That is wild. Perfect guy to come in and throw in this lineup as your 2 instead of a Josh Giddey non-shooter, or at least a not high volume shooter. I don't know. Josh Giddey is willing to shoot the 3, so I didn't want to say unwilling. Whatever. We already talked about JRE. Poku's been out for a little bit, but it's Poku. I don't really know what to say about Poku. I mean, how can you even describe his game? Shooting 44% from the field, 37% from 3. His ability to do guard things at 6'10" or whatever is Yeah, you got Kenrich Williams, Kenny Hustle. There are times in games when I'm like, is is Kenrich Williams doing too much? And then I get reminded that he is the oldest player on this team by far. And his experience, his knowledge of, even when shots aren't falling, even when Kenrich Williams is just an all-around solid player. And he's played 51 games. So, he's going to give you all that on top of the fact that he can stay on the floor, which is obviously a huge thing in the league right now. Lou Dort. We talked about him. Shai. We're going to talk about him. Josh Giddey. We saw in the summer league him kind of intentionally working on his interior finishing, and you see so far it's relatively panned out. I think Josh Giddey, I don't know what he's shooting at the rim, I'll have to look, but from the eye test, Josh Giddey has taken another step in his game. He's never going to be this dominant scorer. I see him more as, Jason Kidd type, where he's going to control the game or control the offense, I should say. And he can score. He can score, but he prefers to play make. And that's fine. That is perfectly fine because you have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander next to him. And Shai is just a downhill demon. Attacking the rim is his specialty. Being first in drive points and drives per game at 16.9 points and 24.2 drives. Shai is going to utilize every tool in his deep toolbox to make his way towards the basket. He was in the 99th percentile in drives per 75, in the 99th percentile in unassisted rim field goal attempts per 75. Best part about Shai's game, outside of his rim or close shot making, his overall consistency. He was in the 90th percentile in true shooting percentage, 95th percentile in points per shot, 92nd percentile in points per possession, 90th percentile in stable transition points per possession, 98th percentile in stable PNR ball handler points per possession, 99th percentile in stable cut points per possession, 84th percentile in stable spot up points per possession, 98th percentile in stable ISO points per possession, 99th percentile in stable post up points per possession, and the 94th percentile in handoff points per possession. Shai is capable of scoring from all three levels and off many different on-ball and off-ball actions. He was in the 96th percentile in total ISOs per 75, the 97th percentile in total ISO impact per 75. Looking at his mid-range shot, he was in the 24th percentile in mid-range shot quality, 99th percentile in mid-range shot creation, and the 97th percentile in mid-range shot making. Shai is also an above-average playmaker, preferring to pass out of the high post or from the paint on a drive or post-up. Shai was in the 87th percentile in assist points per 75, the 97th percentile in potential assists per 100 passes, and the 98th percentile in box creation. Shai has a 20% assist percentage from the paint and a 28% assist percentage from the high post. Shai is going to attack you in every fucking way. He has revolutionized this OKC offense on his own, essentially. I mean, obviously, a lot of it has to do with Mark Daigneault. I don't know how to say his name, but obviously it has a lot to do with Mark, and the talent pool that OKC has acquired. You look at, we looked at Shai Gilgeous, but you even look at a guy like J-Dub, who I mentioned before, but haven't even talked about, I realize now. But his ability to play both ends of the floor on such a high level, he will clamp you up and then dunk on your head on the other end. And to have that as your bench, your bench guard, it's exciting. Next to Trey Mann, Jalen Williams is almost the perfect two guard to throw next to him, and almost the perfect two guard to throw next to Shai, if we're being honest. I don't know what the ceiling of this team is. I mean, shit, they might make the play-in this year. Who knows? They apparently were first in net rating in the last 6 weeks or something like that, and they have the easiest strength of schedule for the rest of the season. This OKC team could end up in the play-in and not getting a lottery pick next year, and And I think that could be very interesting. I think that could be very, very interesting. Now, what does that mean for the future of OKC? Well, you have Chet coming back next year, and realistically, what else do you need? What else do you actually want if you're OKC to start trying to compete? Not sure it's much else. Maybe another wing, but we've seen that OKC is capable of acquiring talent. So at this point where they're at, 28 and 29, it's time. OKC, y'all have a chance. Make the plan, win or lose, you get the experience, you show out, have a good time, and then, maybe sign a free agent, small free agent, a decent, decent backup 3, something like that. But it's time, okay? It's this year. I ain't got shit else to say. This was an awful video, but I'll see you on the next one. Chicken wraps.